sure, because regulation, that we have to register our solar systems for it to be used in manufacturing. Thank you very much. I need clarity on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Estima is my name, representing MP Nutrient Company Limited. I want to thank the Chairman of the Commission and the Commissioners for putting together this. I also want to thank you for a very powerful presentation. Something caught my interest in the course.
Whereby investors prefer the language of can we be sure that there is equal tariff from the end before they ensure the investment going to developers. I think that has been a very wonderful response. We look at the crop regulation when dedicated and it can come at any time. Actually, when dedicated and it can come at any time. Actually, there is clear high level of regulation and also challenges. That's wonderful, but if there could be some addition in terms of tariff on the period, I think we should make it more robust, especially on the side of investments. Also, another question is on the side of interconnection. If there could be a clear timeline in terms of acknowledgement from the DISCO, whereby we say the DISCOs have to respond in 14 days, and if the people respond, it will be deemed approval, just with what we have on the next main regulation of 2023, the amended copy. That will make it very clear in terms of just to avoid any delay from the side of the DISCO. And the last one is on the capacity threshold definition. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think when I went through the draft document,
in your regulation. It's also listed the documents that you need to provide in your regulation. It's also listed the documents that you need to provide. I think
So please, I want to add a context to that question. I don't know whether the person asking this question has in mind the pre-qualification and selection that was recently done by the commission, with the help and assistance of I'm hoping that is the question this person is talking about, but otherwise my second part of the answers that it is supposed to be a simple process if you want to apply for registration or for permit. Can I answer the question from the side? You were talking about how do you marry the usage of an existing infrastructure by the states or put in place by the states, as well as pay for it, so that it's not just inheriting the investment.
Use that asset compensates the tariff.
Okay. The issue is that from even an existing policy, all those are variables in determination of tariff. So if it becomes expedient at this point that overwhelmingly the state has some infrastructure that will be used by whoever is the investor, what will happen is that ERC is a very functional body. They will now look into it, maybe determine the value of such investment in line with whoever is going to be the investor, because what it does is it cuts some expenses for him. At that point, there will be an agreement as to who brings me what and the value, and the method of reform or payment or equity holding, as the case.
Across the country, would Enugu State Regulatory Commission, their own specification, or maybe their requirement be enough for people to begin to develop it individually? That's what I'm trying to look at. I'm not just looking at myself, I'm just looking at it open. Would we have such quantity that will warrant one going to develop specifications over and over again?
Small communities.
Okay, I think we'll take the time question first. The chairman will take the
Okay, on the first question on whether we do have a tariff calculator tool for operators, yes, it's on our website as it is, and happens to be our tariff model that is open to every operator that wants to access it on our website. Then how do we account for FX fluctuations and inflation in the tariff regime? I think we do. Our tool takes that into consideration. And FX fluctuations would take place intermittently. It's not like it's going to be with every single fluctuation that there would be an adjustment. No. Instead, I think what we accommodated, Chiduma, correct me if I'm wrong, is a plus 1 year, and then do we do a difference of plus or minus 2? You know, that we accommodated in the methodology, in the model itself. That once it goes above a particular threshold, then we will revisit it. Or if it stays within that threshold, then plus or minus every year or every other year, if I'm not mistaken. Commissioner, right?
So yeah, we have.
So please, you can expand on that.
We could have 6.
Under the tariff authority regulation.
On the other side, if the variables improve so much that the tariff will come down.
The actual figures. So the escalation for Forex.
The first question is, kindly clarify the role of the distribution company, if any, in the approval of permits to develop isolated mini-grid. In the approval of permits to develop isolated mini-grid. Did you get it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Did you get the second question as well? Yes. Okay, so the second question says, you mentioned that another party can be allowed to operate in an area already marked exclusively for a particular operator based on some cogent reasons. Is there any control mechanism to ensure that this does not lead to conflict between the two parties and does not also impact on the ROI of the first party? Then there's another question, sorry. This is from Mr. Friday Okwanachi. He says, what other security measures will EERC provide to developers or investors apart from the community support, bearing in mind the current insecurity situation in Nigeria and the Southeast in particular? There's no security situation in Enugu. Okay, another question from Mr. Larry Ede from Green Energy. Green Energy. He says, will projects licensed under EERC qualify for federal or donor incentives, or will there be state-specific programs? Thank you.
I don't mind saying something about the last question, because
The pre-selection was done with the pre-qualified leaders actually coming on because of donor support, massive donor support of up to 70% of the campus. So yes, people who are coming to the state can, if they qualify, under established commissions by donor agencies. And we're hoping that ESA will get money soon and be able to support off-grid electrification projects in different ways. So by the time you set up your electrification fund and begin to attract money from other sources, they will be also available to support mini-grid and off-grid projects in the city.
I think, is there another question?
A kind of contribution. My name is Engineer Fine from ESEA. I still want to commend the EERC for organizing this consultative process. When the chairman was making his opening speech, he talked about reliable and sustainable power supply. As a matter of fact, in ESEA, we stand on this three board: reliable, sustainable, and affordable. So in your presentation, you talked that from time to time, we can carry out tariff impacts on customers. So I want to find out who's the responsibility to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any further questions online, or I think the last one was a question.
No. So you were asking who carries out the availability study at the point where the tariff is being set. So in the regulation, what it says is that the developer, we talk about affordability measures. That's one of the measures that the developer can take when they are going about swapping the tariff. They can carry out that study. So it's the developer that does the study. Okay. Does that answer your question? Sorry. Or are you saying it's ESA's responsibility to carry out some studies?
I think it's supposed to be a joint
effort between ESA.
Yes. Can't just leave it to the developer to carry out.
I believe when the developer does carry out the availability study, it will still be subject to review by ESA. And of course, if ESA already has an existing affordability study that has either been done on that study to use in designing its own tariffs, but I know that affordability study will definitely be subject to approval by ESA. So there will be a handshake there regardless.
Definitely, that's what.
Sure.
Do we have any other questions?
I think that's a question on security.
Security, that's for the chairman.
For the question on security, I think I have quite a number of questions that we need to respond to. Councilman has already responded to that of donor incentives, and I'd like to add that Enugu State is also being leveraging and taking advantage of the federal government's REA program, the e-hands program, which we hope to also benefit from. So yes, certain projects in that category would receive, the state will benefit from them, but they are federal-oriented projects that is coming from outside of the state. While we will also support those projects, and operators or developers in that space can leverage on the state's specific incentives, like the ESEA is in a position to provide, for those category of projects, so a project that meets their requirements. But on security, I'd like to assure all developers that Enugu is safe. Enugu is very, very safe. Enugu is among the top 5 safest states in Nigeria today. It's goes without saying. We still leverage on the recently concluded MBA conference and the testimonies of those that participated from outside. And we are working 2/4/7 every day of the week. So the past sit-at-home constraints are no longer, I should say, for the past year and a half, 2 years, since this administration came on board, it's no longer the case. And we invite everybody to come and see for yourself. It is not just for us to play lip service to it and try to assure the developers. No, come and see for yourself. Come and experience it for what On Engineer Fatai's question, whether the distribution company has any role specifically for a particular operator based on some cogent reason, is there any control mechanism to ensure that this does not lead to conflict between the two parties and does not also impact on the ROI of the first party? I would think that this is speaking to some sort of interconnection or the use of an existing network.
I think it's speaking to the exclusivity of the license of the permits.
Of the permit?
Yeah, so
for any particular licensee.
yes, for the geographical area.
I don't think that should be the case. That I should think that every operator's rights and obligation and control of the assets he has put in place remains that of that developer. However, let me not run away from the fact that we're also speaking to open access, that we're being driven by open access. If the capacity exists within the network and a particular operator can use that network to deliver electricity services to another customer, we expect that you will be paid for the use of that network as if it were a tool, while that open access is granted for operators to whatever they wield their power to their customers. I hope that provides clarity to that particular question. If it doesn't, please send us a message of feedback and with details as to how you want us to, what you want to specifically have us consider, and we'll take it into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who has sent questions online and also people in the room. So I just want to say the regulation has been published online and there's already an email address where you can send your feedback. So please, this is not the end of the consultation. If you still have further feedback, feel free to send an email and the Commission will get it. That feedback will be collected and used to finalize the regulation. So I think on that note now, we will be moving to the second part of today, which is where we will be discussing the ERC distribution user system model and guidelines those. So it's time for that presentation. So please.
We have received some feedbacks already, but most of them were other clarifications. And because we have done it's originally in our policy, it's originally in our law, the Enugu state law, and we have also developed a model based on what we have in the law. and in our tariff methodology regulation. So based on that, we have developed a model. But we'll be looking at the whole concept, how it works. Some part of what we are about to discuss are being covered by the last presenter. However, we will still go through the whole thing. It's a short presentation because it's supposed to be straightforward. So we'll try and see whether we can make it very clear and take all your feedbacks and also try to make some of the clarifications based on the feedback we receive via emails too. So distribution use of system. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so just like I heard someone mention, I think it's our chairman, that the commission is driven by creating open access in the market. It's one of our cardinal objectives to create this open access so that the third parties can come in and play. And then we will now have a lot of players, operators in our markets. And then maybe someday we'll now have electricity in excess in Enugu State. Excuse me. So that's one of our cardinal objectives as a regulator in the state. So let's move to the next slide. So we look at the Enugu State electricity market design. So this is the original market design for Enugu State. And the ERC, if you are seeing, I hope you cannot see it, but so ERC is the regulator regulating the whole electricity environment in Enugu State. So I want to try and pay attention to the ERC because they are the ones that the growth is affecting. So ERC stands for Electricity Retail Company. So this ERC contracts power from a Genco, either whether it's under a bilateral arrangement from a Genco in the States or maybe it's buying from the grid, wherever it signs a PPA with a Genco and purchases electricity. This electricity is transmitted through the middle. Okay, sorry for that break in transmission. Okay, so we transmitted electricity just after contracting electricity from a Genco. For retail. So you can see, permit me to just move around a little so you can see the flow based on the arrows. So this is the medium voltage distribution company. The ERC signs a PPA with the Genco and transmits the energy through the existing distribution network of the DISCO. So the area where it's delivering electricity. Now, the ERC pays dues, the distribution user system, to the medium voltage distribution company, which is Main Power in Enugu State, for using their distribution assets to deliver the electricity to the ring-fenced area. I hope this part is clear. Because the next slide, we are just going to be looking at how the rules work. So in other words, the ERC, so the DISCO remains the wire owners. They remain at the medium voltage level, while the ERC does the electricity services and delivery in those areas, and pay them for using the distribution network to transmit that energy to the area, unless the ERC has a GENCO situated in the ring-fenced area, then it has no relationship anymore with the medium voltage company. If you understand what I just said. So as long as it's going to use the existing distribution network of the medium voltage company, he is going to pay for it. So in the next slide, we are going to look at how the rules work and how we make sure that the model